The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. And today we are taking up the summary of this poem. The Wasteland is the poem by Eliot. Eliot's close friend and colleague Ezra Pound suggested major cuts, and due to Pound's heavy editing as well as suggestions, The Wasteland is called as modernist poetry and became the most influential poem of the century. The poem shifts its tone and form, symbols and parallelism and various allusions are grafted together, and this style closely represents the fragmentation of the modern world. Eliot focused on the sterility of modern culture and its lack of tradition and ritual. Although the poem appears pessimistic due to difficulties and perplexities of modern civilization, still its mythical religious ending makes one hopeful that all is not lost and there is a chance for renewal of humanity. The poem is divided into 5 sections and they are like this. First, the burial of the dead. Second section, a game of chess. Third section, the fire sermon. Then death by water and what the thunder said. The poem begins with a section entitled The Burial of the Dead, which means spiritual decadence and death of the wastelanders. In it, the narrator describes the seasons. Spring brings memories, and so the narrator's memory drift back to times in Munich, to childhood rides and romance with a hyacinth girl. The narrator talks of a desolate land full of stony rubbish. He remembers a fortune teller named Madame Sosostris, who said he was the drowned Phoenician sailor and that he should fear death by water. Next, he finds himself on the London Bridge, surrounded by crowd. He spots a friend of his from wartime and calls out to him. The next section, a game of chess, transports the reader abruptly from the streets of London to a gilded drawing room where sits a rich, bejeweled lady who complains about her nerves and does not know what to do. The poem takes us then to a pub, this time at closing time, where 2 Cockney women gossip. Within a few stanzas, we have moved from the upper strata of society to London's low life. Then we come to the next section, the fire sermon. It opens with an image of a river. The narrator sits on the banks and muses on the deplorable state of the world as Tiresias sees a young carbuncular man with a lonely girl, and later leaving her without hesitation. Then the poet takes us back to the river where maidens sing a sad song of lament. One of them cries over her loss of innocence to a lustful man. Next, death by water, that is the 4th section of the poem, shows significance of water as means of purification as well as rebirth. It describes a dead Phoenician floating on the water, perhaps the same drowned sailor of whom Madame Sosostris spoke. What the thunder said shifts locales from the sea to rocks and mountains. The narrator cries for rain and then it rains. In the Indian scriptures, there is mystic mantra Data Davyadham Damyata. That means to give, to sympathize, to control. With these remedies, benediction is possible despite the collapse of civilization that is underway. London Bridge is falling down, and these mantras, they are the key to spiritual rebirth. In What the Thunder Said, the narrator shifts locales from the sea to rocks and mountains. Sorry, this is again the same one that has come back. Then we have the structure and form. Of the poem. It is based on montage. Montage is, as you know, technique of selecting, editing and piecing together separate or fragments of film to form a continuous whole. So we find the poem on the same line. Then Tiresias is the unifying link. Liberal use of myths is there. The structure of the poem is spiral in nature. Lots of irony and contrast is present in the poem. The poem has a specific purpose. It lays bare the spiritual decadence and barrenness of modern civilization and ways and means for rebirth and regeneration. Thank you. Have a nice day.